Is your mother-daughter relationship filled with love and laughter or silence and landmines? You're not alone if you're in the landmines and suffering category. These bonds are powerful, but they can also be painfully complicated. I certainly know. I wrote the book on it. So hey everyone, I'm glad for anybody that's going to show up or watch this today. I'm Lindsey Glass, and today we're diving deep into the most sacred and challenging relationships in our lives, the mother-daughter connection. Whether you're a mom, whether you're a daughter, or somewhere in the middle trying to break the cycle, this conversation can help you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to explore what makes these relationships healthy and unhealthy. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some truths that are really important to help you heal. And I'm doing this because the follow-up to this book, the workbook for lasting change, is coming out in October. So just to give you a little bit of background, again, I'm Lindsey from Reach Out Recovery, and one of the things we do at Reach Out Recovery is we have a line of self-help books. So this was our book that came out in, I think it came out in 2024 or 25. I don't even remember anymore. But anyway, it's called The Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover, 4 Steps to Bring Back the Love. This is a therapist recommended book. It did make Oprah's book club. What we thought was so fabulous about the book is it's not just the story of what went on between my mom and myself. And we do have quite a story both of breaking up and coming back together with a lot of drama on all sides. But what was so important about this book was we put together 4 steps to help you heal, and they can really help anyone heal. So if you had drama with your mom, if you have drama with your daughter, if this relationship, this mother-daughter relationship is something you are absolutely struggling with, we can absolutely help you. So the first thing I'm going to do and talk about today is really go over whether or not your relationship with your mom or your daughter is healthy, because that's the first thing to really understand. Could your relationship with your mom or your daughter improve? And for most of us, it could. So what we're really, trying to figure out is, how serious is it? Are you in a very toxic situation with your mom or your daughter? Or are you kind of just going through natural growing pains that go on between any mother or daughter? And, we're going to go through that. So again, I want to always preface these conversations with the information that we write about this stuff because we went through it ourselves. So we absolutely know the ins and outs of this, and we've done a lot of research. So what makes a healthy relationship with your mom? And if you were blessed to have a healthy relationship with your mom, you had a lot of these things, or at least she tried her best to do these things. So, healthy relationship with your mom, what it looks like. Both mom and daughter respect boundaries. Now, here's the big thing, and I say this as the daughter, and we had alcoholism and addiction in our family, and I certainly did not respect boundaries when I was growing up. So I always really like to be very, very clear with people that daughters can be difficult. This is not just about difficult moms. I did have a difficult mom, but I was also a difficult daughter. And that's why we were able, in part, to heal, is because we were both able to acknowledge that we had been difficult. So does your mom respect your boundaries? Do you respect her boundaries? And what does that look like? Boundaries can be all different kinds of things. Time boundaries, financial boundaries. Does she ask you for money? Does she expect you to do things for you? Does she expect you to take care of her children or her pets at your expense? These are all things that if you're open to it, it's okay. But if it's making you unhappy, that's a boundary issue. So number 2, a healthy relationship with a mom and daughter, they're spending time together. They're doing things that they both enjoy, and they're engaging in healthy activities. So exercise, cooking, crafts, whatever it is, it's a mother and daughter who are able to spend quality time together in a loving, healthy, supportive way. So number 3, They accept each other and show up for each other. This is a very important marker of a healthy mother-daughter bond. And it really involves healthy communication. But getting back to they accept each other and show up for each other, does your mom accept you? Does your daughter accept you? Does she accept what you do for a living? Does she accept your beliefs, your values, how you raise your children or your pets? We don't often think about these things as being a major sign of respect. But if somebody doesn't accept who you're dating, who you're living with, how you try to raise your children, what your religion you're practicing, that can be very, very destructive and detrimental to the relationship. Also, does she show up for you? When you're in trouble, will she come get you? Will she be there for you? Nothing feels worse than when you're in a situation where the person who is supposed to love you and take care of you doesn't. So we really want to pay attention to, does this mother and daughter, are they able to accept each other and show up? So the next thing is healthy communication. So this is all about this in the book and in the upcoming workbook. Healthy communication is the key to everything. Are you able to say safely to your mother or your daughter, hey, what you're saying is making me feel bad, or hey, I really need your help with this, or hey, I really need a break because actually the way you're behaving right now is beginning to stress me out. It doesn't mean I don't love you. But this ability to be able to be honest with your mom or your daughter is really important. And I say this as somebody who, when I was growing up, I was scared to say anything to my mom. You never knew how she was going to react. I did not want to hurt her feelings. I did not want to make her feel bad. And in many cases, I think the same with her to me. She was, I could be unpredictable. Nothing is scarier than trying to talk to somebody who can be unpredictable. So one of the things we really preach and we practice now as a healthier mother and daughter is being able to listen to each other. And sometimes listening means active listening. Active listening is when you're not thinking about how you're going to respond. You're just listening to what she's saying. You're just sitting there, and even if you're biting your tongue, even if there is blood boiling through your system at what you are hearing from this woman, you are able to sit there and listen in a respectful way. So that's really, really important. Listening and then responding in a respectful way, not just reacting. So one of the things my mother and I really had to learn is we triggered each other. We triggered each other with food. We triggered each other with money. We triggered each other with our facial expressions. If she even looked at me a certain way, I would know that she was angry. So we have to be really, really careful of how we communicate and how we respond. All right, the next one is, does she defend you when you need help? That's really important, and I'll speak to that on a personal level. When you have a mom who is unwilling to defend you to her partner, to her friends, to whoever, it can be an incredibly unsafe situation. And same thing for the daughter. Being able to defend each other, and I'm not saying going out and picking a fight in the street. What I'm talking about is when mom's boyfriend is being disrespectful to the daughter, what is mom gonna do? Is she going to say to that boyfriend, hey, I don't like the way you're talking to my daughter right now. You need to stop that. Or is she going to take the boyfriend's side? And the same thing for the daughter. Is the daughter letting people, disrespect her mother? This is a really big deal. And when we're in dysfunctional family models, it's really, really easy to get into a habit of snapping at each other, wanting to be right, pointing the finger, and we really lose respect. And what, my mom and I are trying to do, what we're doing with this book and our other books, is we are really trying to teach families to be respectful. We don't have to agree. We don't even have to like each other all the time. But we do need to be respectful if we're going to be in a healthy family model. So, can you show each other unconditional love, warmth, and support? Now, what this means is when she's doing something that you don't like, but isn't necessarily wrong, can you get behind her? Can you say, okay, this isn't my favorite, but I love you anyway. I'm here for you, and let me know what you need. So getting back to the situation with the mom, with the boyfriend. So can that daughter turn around and say, all right, I don't love the way your boyfriend's behaving right now, but I know he's a part of your life and I want to be in your life as well. So I'm going to do what I need to do to get along with him. Like, that's what a healthy family model is all about. It's not one person saying, oh, I'm going to go above and beyond to make this work. It's everybody saying, wow, this is a little bit uncomfortable for me right at this moment, but if this is what's right for the greater good, I'm going to be able to do it. So, showing unconditional love, warmth, and support is really important. And it's not always easy, but that's how we get people to trust us. That's how we get people to know that we're going to be there when they need us, by showing unconditional love and warmth. Trust me, I've been there. There's nothing worse than when you're down and somebody won't show you that warmth and that support. Okay, so now we're going to get into what an unhealthy relationship with your mom looks like, because this is where our materials do come into play. If you are in an unhealthy model, it often doesn't get better on its own. It didn't get better for us. We had to go into recovery. We had to go into therapy. We had to learn models, new models of communication. We had to learn about each other's personality styles. And that was all the work that we had to do to be able to get along better as a mother and daughter who had once been dysfunctional. But now we are functional. So here are the things to look out for in your relationship that may actually be unhealthy. So 1, mom does not prioritize her daughter's needs, and she may have ignored them altogether. Now, if you are in a home where there is alcoholism, mental illness, or other very serious issues going on, this is par for the course. I'm not trying to be offensive. When a mother is struggling with alcoholism, addiction, or mental health issues, she often is struggling to take care of her own needs, much less be able to take care of her daughter's needs. So if you grew up in an environment, and maybe it was something else, maybe it was poverty, maybe mom was in a really tough marriage and being able to support the family and manage that marriage was all she could manage. But if you're the daughter and you didn't get your needs met, this is something to pay attention to, because it could have led to low self-esteem. It could lead to issues with your own relationships. And what we want to do is not punish mom. We don't want to point the finger. What we want to do is heal. I was a daughter who really struggled, and I had to do a lot of healing in my adult life to be okay. But I did it, and now I'm better. And now we really share what we went through to help other people. So the number 2 big one is serious boundary issues. This is where mom wants to party with you. Mom wants to be your best friend. Mom wants to take you to places that are inappropriate. Now, I am Gen X. I grew up at a time where there are pictures of me and my mom drinking when I am young, very, very young. Now, we were in party dresses. It was a different time. I'm not angry at her about this, and she didn't know any better, at that time. However, we now know that we are both in recovery, that you do not drink with underage people. So if mom doesn't have boundaries, if she's wearing, and I'm not talking about borrowing your sweatpants, but, borrowing your party clothes and being really inappropriate, these are some things that you might want to think about. Number 3, mom abandoned her daughter for romantic partners or friends. And I think daughters can do this too. But definitely right now we're looking a little bit at the mom angle. So if mom abandoned you to go party for boyfriends, again, we were talking above about how it's really important for mom to defend daughters when they need defending. So this is a mom who chooses the boyfriend, goes off with the boyfriend, goes off with the husband, whatever it is. She is not prioritizing her child's needs or safety. Number 4, controlling moms. Raise your hand if you've had a controlling mom. Many of us have. So controlling moms have grand plans for their daughters. Whether those plans make sense to the daughter or not, those plans can be anything. They can be plans that she thinks are really good for her. You know, she wants her to be a dancer. She wants her to be a gymnast. She wants her to be a singer. But this is about a mom who is managing the daughter and controlling what she's doing without really considering whether the daughter wants this, whether it's good for her, and whether it's making the daughter happy. And the controlling stuff can go across everything: friends, boyfriends, food. But a mom who needs to exert total control over a daughter is not healthy. Then there are the egregious situations. And egregious situations are, and I mentioned it above, but alcoholism, addiction, an abusive boyfriend or husband in the house, an abusive sibling in the house, or any abusive person in the house, severe or untreated mental illness, poverty, or any other situation where the daughter is not only unloved, but in grave danger. So what we're talking about here is a mom who is putting her daughter in grave danger. Her safety is at risk, her mental health is at risk, possibly even her ability to take care of herself, get nutrition, get exercise, get proper schooling. These are all at risk. So again, we're not pointing the finger. We're not trying to shame anybody or blame anybody. What we're doing here with these books, with these materials, is if you're sitting there going, wow, I keep having the same really, really bad relationship with my, with women, with bosses, with boyfriends, and you've had, an unloving mom, or you have a really complicated relationship with your daughter, these are the things to look out for, and we do have tools and books that can help. So the next thing I want to go through is just a quick list of when your mother's love scars you. So a lot of times we are scarred by our mothers. They didn't mean to. Some did, but most didn't. But inadvertently, there's damage that has been done. You are now in a troubled place. And here are 9 truths that we want to share, because let me tell you something, anybody can heal from this stuff. My mom has healed from her overcoming her family situations. I have healed from overcoming my family situations. My mom and I are super close and super loving. So and we are both sober. So I can absolutely promise you that many, many dysfunctional situations can be healed. And here are 9 truths to get you started on your healing journey. So 1, you are not broken. We are not broken. Your mother's inability to love you the way you needed is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of her ability. So it's really important when you go into these kinds of self-improvement books to remember there's nothing wrong with you. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. So number 2 is her story is not your destiny. You can stop the cycle, and you are not doomed to repeat her patterns. Awareness is key. Self-discovery is the first step, and it will get you clarity and understanding of what's happened so that you can do the work to get better. Number 3, love should never hurt your sense of self. Affection that diminishes you is not love, it is control or confusion. So often the kind of love that you get from narcissists, from alcoholics, from mentally ill people, it will hurt your sense of self because it's unpredictable. It's not stable. It's not nurturing. So it's really important to remember that proper love will nurture you. And as you go into this process and you start working on it and you start looking for love in other places, you really need to get grounded in the idea that love makes you feel good. Love should never hurt you, on purpose. So the next thing is it's okay to grieve the mother you needed. I remember when I was doing a lot of my Al-Anon work, a lot of my family therapy work, the big thing they ask you to do is to grieve for what you didn't get. We're so busy out here trying to be like, oh, I'm okay, nothing's wrong with me. And we forget to say, hey, that stinks that that little girl who needed love and affection didn't get it. But I can still be okay. And the really important part is to grieve it now. Let those feelings out. You don't have to hold it in anymore. It's not fair that everyone doesn't get the things that they deserve when they're growing up. And it's okay to have feelings about that. In fact, it's really important to let your feelings out about that so that you can then get over it. So the next one is you get to redefine your family. I remember when there was a period of time when I was not in touch with my family. I was working on myself, and I built my own family in those years. I made friends, I had mentors, I had other women in my life. They played an incredibly vital role while I was rebuilding and was looking for what kind of relationships I wanted. So I have been a wonderful mother to dogs. I've had wonderful relationships with women I was not related to, and that's really important. Love can come from those who choose you, not just from those who raised you. You get to choose your family, and you get to define what your family looks like. The next thing is healing is yours. It doesn't matter whether your mom changes or not. It doesn't matter if your daughter is sick and suffering. You get to decide what is going to be right for you. And if you want to have a happy life, you can find things that will make your life better no matter what is going on that is being detrimental to this important relationship. Okay. You are allowed to set boundaries. We've talked about boundaries a couple times on this live. Boundaries are being able to say, I can't continue on in this relationship if you behave like this, or I need to take a break, or I can only spend a couple hours or minutes with you at a time, or I don't want to spend any time with you at all right now. I want to talk to you on the phone until you can behave yourself a little bit better. So learning about boundaries and what kind of boundaries would help if you are in kind of an unhealthy relationship with your mother or daughter are absolutely vital. And the final, you deserve to be seen and heard. We are all lovable. It doesn't matter whether our mommies loved us. It doesn't matter whether our daughters love us. You deserve love. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be heard. Your feelings matter, and you deserve to be understood and not dismissed. So one of the things we really talk about when we get into the lifestyle parts in this book is finding the kind of groups and people that can make us feel okay while we're going through this process. So I think next time we probably will do a little bit of recovery lifestyle. But again, right now we are getting ready for the follow-up of the mother-daughter relationship makeover to come out. It's called the Mother-Daughter Relationship Makeover Workbook for Lasting Change. It's coming out in October. Again, this book was in Oprah's book club. It is therapist recommended. I will be teaching it next year. And it works. We've had people tell us it works. So if you are in a tough place with your mother or your daughter and you were really ready to start looking at what happened and do a little bit of healing, we can absolutely help you. I will put the information in the information below. And we really welcome you to follow us, to reach out Recovery. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Our books are all in our shops. And all we really want is for you to be healthy and happy. So we're going to help you get there.